Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Marquez Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. If you're finding us on the YouTubes, click that like button, click that subscribe button. Go to Saints Happy Hour to get the best Saints podcast in the world. And Kevin, I want to take a minute to explain to people that when you support the show and you become a patron, you help us make sure Thomas has the best and finest meats and cheeses from Poland to keep him nice and full and happy and being the best producer in the world. But you know what else it helps us do? I have a new camera today. New camera. My old camera was an old cell phone that I used, and it started to overheat and melt. So my wife said, you got to get a new one. I think it's a fire hazard. And we were able to get a new camera because of the Patreon. So that's what we do. We reinvest the money.
It only took a few years of before you finally realized, hey, maybe I need to get a new camera. And it only took your wife finally telling you should get a new camera.
When it was smoking on the dining room table. But we invest all the money we get in the program, and you should support the show. We really need you guys. Go to saintshappyhour.com. Jason, Gwen, and John Boudreau, they all signed up this week. Thanks, guys, for supporting the show. Kevin, we have actual game. We have an actual Saints football game Sunday. So this is a game, preseason. We're trying to get organized so you can watch it. It's on the NFL Network. It's weird. All the Saints preseason games this year, two of them are Sunday at noon, and one of them is Sunday at 7:00. It used to be preseason games were like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but now I guess the NFL Network wants them all on Sunday at noon so they can get people in the habit, I guess, of being ready for football Sunday at noon, like we're going to forget. So we got the Chiefs. Yep. And we just want to give a quick preview of like, what are we going to be interested in watching? And the interesting thing is, Dennis Allen said he's going to play Derek Carr, going to play the starters on offense at least. He didn't announce the defense. So we're going to talk about what we're interested in watching. And I'm going to start. And I'm going to say my first thing that I'm interested to see. And people are probably expecting me to say Derek Carr or sexy, sultry Jake Haener in the fourth quarter. We'll get to that. But my thing is, I want to see if the defense plays. The Saints have redone that defensive line, right? They got rid of Onyemata. They got rid of Davenport. They got rid of Shai Tuttle. And the thing is, all those changes the Saints made on defense, Kevin, they willingly did it. It wasn't like last year. Remember last year where Malcolm Jenkins retired, right? And Marcus Williams left, right? So the Saints would have been more than happy if Malcolm Jenkins had continued to play and Marcus Williams had signed the contract offer that the Saints made to him. They would have been happy to run it back at safety. They had to change everything at safety, and they didn't do it willingly. They did it against their will. They were like me getting photographed with people. I smile against my will. The defensive line different. They did it. They brought in Sanders. They brought in Bursey. They've added quality guys on the defensive line willingly. They've made this change on the defensive line willingly, and I'm interested to see if we see flashes, if we see guys, some of the new guys making plays, stepping up, and it's going to be okay. Because I wouldn't say I'm worried because the defensive line was bad last year anyway. But I'm just curious. I want to see if the hype for Colin Sanders, if it translates a little bit to Sunday. That's my first thing.
Okay.
So
my first thing, over under on number of series Derek Carr plays. I'll set the over under at 2.5.
No. That's too many.
Okay, I'll set it at 1.5.
That's right.
And I still might take the under. Like everybody's talking about, oh, we're going to see Derek Carr play. Come on. He's going to play one series. He's going to hand the ball off twice. He's going to throw the ball maybe 3 or 4 times, if that, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that if they go 3 and out, if they would go like 3 and out, and out, he might get a third, which would of course be bad. But there's also a chance he goes 5 for 5 with a touchdown to Juwan Johnson, and they score, and it's like, he's done. He's good.
Listen, if he goes, say 3 for 5 for 55 yards, I'm fine. Just get him out.
That's right.
And successfully hands the ball off to who we got. It's going to be Jamal Williams, Kendra Miller. Who else they got in this MASH unit? Kirk Merritt. Like,
that's it. Well, no, that's an interesting point because at running back, because do the Saints, because Kamara is suspended, do you want to take a look at Kendra Miller? Do you want to take a look at Jamal Williams? Or do you want to keep him healthy? And like, no, they're not going to get any carries in the preseason game. Kurt Merritt, all the no names are getting the carries.
Brother, Kendra Miller should get some
I think
reps.
You're right.
Like, I can understand not wanting to give Jamal Williams many reps. The guy's played for a number of years, so it's kind of like you know what you're getting. Kendra Miller needs to play. It's look, I am not an athlete, never claimed to be, but I've listened to enough professional athletes say that it's one thing to play in college, it's another thing when you're playing at the top flight and getting hit, getting tackled, getting chased, getting everything by professional athletes, by the top 1-2% in your in that field. It's a different thing.
Yeah. Running back is an interesting one, Kevin, because it might give us a little tip off to if they give Kendra Miller, say, 5 to 7 carries in the game and he's kind of not great or whatever, that may give him a tip of, hey, Kareem Hunt or whatever other yokel running back is out there, they sign, right? And if they look bad. But that brings me to the other thing that I'm interested in is, listen, the Saints, Diane Rossini, she tricked us. She said that Kareem Hunt and Anthony Barr were going to sign pending physicals. They didn't. Kareem Hunt went to Indianapolis. He still hasn't signed, neither has Anthony Barr. His visit with the Giants got canceled. So Dennis Allen has said, we're still looking for a linebacker besides Pete Werner and Demario Davis. DeMarco Jackson, he's kind of the darling of the offseason. The Nick Underhills, the Ross Jacksons, saying he was good in mini camp and OTAs. He hasn't really flashed that much in camp. So I'm really curious to see if DeMarco Jackson can step up, if my UDFA son, Anthony Orji, can step up, Nefi Sewell, these linebacker guys.
You're missing Dave's begotten son, Nick Anderson.
That's right. When Dave's begotten son, Nick Anderson. So all these guys, Kevin, I'm curious to see how they perform, because you could have a situation, I believe, that if the Saints are, if they struggle at linebacker and they're getting worked and they're not making tackles, they're getting, looking bad, they don't know where to go. I think you could see a situation as early as like Monday morning, Tuesday, where like the Saints are like, oh, by the way, we're signing Anthony Barr. We're signing other linebackers that are out there. We're doing that at warp speed. And I bring up a situation. You remember in 2006, Sean Payton's first year, they played Dallas in a preseason game and they looked atrocious. And I think Sean Payton traded for Scott Shanley at the handshake after the game. Like he's like, whatever linebacker you're going to cut, Bill, just give him to me. I want him. And they got
30-7.
They got Scott Shanley.
Let's see.
Who was
no box score available?
No, that's
I got to find a box score. See, now you got me on this. Now I want to see a box score.
But that's my other thing that I'm excited about. Are we, you weren't on the main show Tuesday.
Hang on. Wait a minute. I've got to jump in because I feel like we're going in a different direction now.
Go ahead.
That preseason game, Drew Bledsoe, 12 of 16, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tony Romo, 6 of 8, 138 yards, 1 touchdown. Saints, Drew Brees, 7 of 12, 67 yards. Todd Bouman.
Wow.
13 of 16, 117 yards.
Wow.
The Todd Bouman experience, ladies and gentlemen.
Still on the team. The funny thing from that, as I was looking up that preseason game a couple of years ago, the funny thing for that, when ESPN used to have the article up, I don't think they have the AP story available anymore.
No.
The funniest thing about that game, after the game, Bill Parcells was mad at the Saints because he's like, they're so terrible. My number ones didn't get enough reps. This team is so terrible. They just weren't good enough. I didn't even get anything out of the game. He's
I'm
like
possession, 37-48 for Dallas, 22-12 for New Orleans.
Bill Parcells was mad at how bad the Saints were.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
He was so mad. He's so irate.
Sorry. I had to jump in with that. That's basically what I bring to the table. Is
right. He was so mad. He was so mad. He gave the Saints Scott Shanley.
Thank you.
The other thing about this game that I think will be interesting, is, and we touched on it on the main show, but without you there, you don't have Dave is, he's a great Saints fan. He's as much a Saints fan as the rest of us, but his sort of Saints fandom starts at like 2000 like Hazlitt era. So we were trying to figure, and you could go a little bit further back. We were trying to figure out, because I'm excited about sexy, sultry Jake Haener playing second half. He's looked marvelous for the Saints apparently in camp. We're excited about him. I was trying to think, when was the last time the Saints drafted a quarterback and they played well in the preseason and we got just a little bit excited? We couldn't come up with a name in the podcast. I couldn't come up with a name of a guy they drafted because Ian Book, Garrett Grayson, Sean Canfield, Adrian McPherson.
Hang on. I'm checking right now.
Jake Delhomme was great in the preseason, but he wasn't drafted by the Saints. He was a UDFA. So I don't know if he qualified. He doesn't even really qualify. But that was as close as we could get. And I'm not talking about a quarterback where we were like, oh, this guy can be a starter. Just, oh, that's cool. He went 12 of 18 for 2 touchdowns in the second half. He might be something. We haven't had, I don't think I've ever had that in my entire life with the Saints.
Brother, I am looking at this thing right now. Ronnie Lee South.
What?
And with 2 Ds, Hargett.
Wait, Ronnie Lee South sounds like the Intercontinental Tag Team champion of the Smoky Mountain Division in 1978.
Well, Smoky Mountain didn't exist in 1978, but I know what you're saying. Like he sounds like he and Wahoo McDaniel briefly held the Mid-Atlantic tag straps and lost them to Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernoodle. Steve Ramsey, Bobby Scott, 14th round. Jesus Christ.
It's bad. It's
Rusty Lachase.
That's another one. That's another wrestling name.
Harry Sippa, Greg Kokel, Mike Wrecker. Good God, where are we? And I'm having to go up years and years. Todd Santos.
Todd Santos sounds like a congressman who embezzled money.
And then hasn't been kicked out yet.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Gary Godowski, Mike Buck. Mike Buck played.
Mike Buck did play.
Barely. Doug Nussmeier.
Oh,
and now we're getting into the Danny. Now we're getting into the Werfel, Bulger. I mean, yeah, Bulger never played really. Bulger didn't play really for us.
I don't.
JT Sullivan.
You know what though? Bulger might have been a guy. He had to have done something in the preseason for the Saints because the Saints caught him and the Rams claimed him, and he went on to like be sort of average, for years and years. But I don't remember him doing anything. But
no.
he would be one that you would think would have, but maybe not. I don't know.
He went to 2 Pro Bowls.
The Saints. I would put the Saints draft quarterback history of sadness against any team's draft.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
In the
anybody.
League. But Saints.
Anybody.
The Saints, and the thing that's weird though with the Saints is they haven't picked a quarterback in the first round since Archie, which is it's weird for them being so bad and not, But
so let's see. Let me see. Have they even picked anybody in the second round? Let's see.
I don't believe so.
Going back.
I mean,
there was the one where they picked a 2. I thought.
I want to say Danny Werfel was a 4th. Grayson was a 3rd. And
Nussmeier was a 4th.
Yeah.
Werfel was a 4th.
Yeah, like they haven't.
Bulger was a 6th. Oh, yeah, and all these other guys from the 70s and whatever, it's like they're all... Steve Ramsey was the 5th. Like, the 70s, like, they were picking guys at the back in the mid-round. Yeah, Ronnie Lee South, 5th round.
Ronnie Lee South. That name... I feel like he has his own wrestling move, like the crumbler or something, where he's
yeah.
But
so I don't think the Saints have picked a quarterback in the first, second, or third round. I'm about to make sure I'm making one more pass here.
If you don't count Dave Wilson in the supplemental draft in the early 80s, I don't think the Saints have made a quarterback pick in the top 70 picks in the NFL draft. Probably since I would bet you probably since Archie.
No, not counting Dave Wilson in the supplemental draft. The Saints have not taken a quarterback in the first, second, or third round since Archie Manning.
Wow, that is crazy. So here's my final question, and then we'll get out of here because Thomas needs to eat his lunch of meat and cheeses in Poland. What would Jake Haener need to do in the preseason Sunday to be the greatest preseason Saints drafted quarterback in history?
Preseason drafted. Well, God, I can't look at the numbers for the incomparable Sean Canfield or Mike Buck. But look, if Jake Haener goes out there and goes even 6 for 10 or something, and calls a couple, recognizes a potential blitz and manages to orchestrate, what do you call it? Calls an audible to where he doesn't get his head rocked by the Chiefs defense sometime in the third or fourth quarter and manages to either successfully hand the ball off or throw a screen pass or something instead. I'm okay with that. Like, if you want me to, I don't know, let's see. Bold proclamations, I guess, because I'm giving the safe answer here. So, bold proclamation, he'd have to throw a touchdown pass, orchestrate a nice long drive of 60-plus yards, 8 of 11, something like that.
8 of 11, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he leads the game-winning drive for a group 41-yard field goal at the gun.
Game-winning drive. Just give me a touchdown drive. Give me a nice long touchdown drive.
We are about to get irrationally excited about Jake Haener. I'm just saying. It's going to happen. So Guys, thanks for joining us.
How many series does Jameis Winston play?
0.
0. Okay.
0. I think they're gonna slide Jay Kaner in there and give Jay Kaner a big old cameo. He's like Jay Kaner's gonna play like 2-3 quarters. The Jay Kaner mania, man. It's not just the fans, man. He's sultry, he's sexy, and the Saints traded up to get him. They want Jay Kaner to succeed, just as we all do. I mean, I'm just saying. That's my prediction. We're gonna get like I don't know what the
Tomas,
word is for.
Check the timestamp on this.
I don't know what the word is. We're gonna get like a photo album of sexiness from Jay Kaner. How about that? It's my prediction.
Okay.
So thanks to Thomas for postponing his lunch so we could record a preview for you guys. This is on YouTube, but if you like what you hear, and of course you did, go to saintshappyhour.com, become a patron, support the show. You get all kinds of special perks, access to our Discord. It's amazing. You should do it. We need the support so we can keep growing, keep having fun all football season long. So for Kevin, for Thomas back in Poland, I'm Ralph. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, the bar is closed.